Hey guys, Darkovika here, and I know it's been a while. There's been a lot going on, at least on my end. I know it's kind of impossible for you guys to know that, and I've been putting off doing an update video because I just didn't want to sound like I was constantly complaining about my life. Woe is me. But I just wanted to talk to you guys and share some thoughts. I will give an update on what's been going on with me at the end of this video because I had some things that I wanted to talk about that are actually Sims related. And then because I'm obsessed, even though my channel has absolutely no Sims communities involved in it, I'm literally invisible to the Sims YouTube universe. I just have an obsession and a problem, and that's me in a nutshell. But yeah, at the end of this video, I figured I'd give you guys a little update on why I haven't been uploading all of a sudden, and then I would just sort of talk to you guys. But for the first part of this, let's talk about the new Sims DLC, because I've noticed that there's a lot of hatred around eco lifestyle, I think is what it's called. And it is I think it's a game pack, game expansion. There's 3 different things in The Sims now. There's 3 different types of DLC things that you can get. Stuff packs and the other 2. And I get the other 2 mixed up constantly. Don't know what the difference is. I don't think anybody does. I don't think anybody knows what defines the other 2 types of packs. But the eco lifestyle is the bigger one. That's all I can use to explain it. So I'm obviously not a game changer. I'm just gonna put that out there. I will never be a game changer. That's not happening. I have no voice. This is just my personal thoughts on eco lifestyle, completely free of any involvement from EA's side. I don't exist to them. So now that I've got that out of the way, I personally am an extremely easy to please human being. It doesn't take much. When it comes to games, if I don't like something, it's pretty rare, and it's usually because it's not my genre, which is fine and understandable, but normally it takes a lot for me to not like a game. I can find good things in pretty much everything. So for me, with that said, I am actually kind of excited for eco living or lifestyle. I'll get to that in a second. It looks fun. I like the concept of, the mechanics that have been shown so far. I watch Plumbella all the time, so I got a lot of my information and what I know of it from her. I've forgotten most of it, so this isn't going to be this is what's in the pack video. No. I am actually kind of excited for the gameplay. Obviously, there's a lot of upset around the fact that we have sort of seen this sort of gameplay with Island Living. And Island Living was also a game expansion, the big one. And it really didn't sort of live up to, I'm willing to admit this, even though I really like Island Living because I really like mermaids, okay? But it really didn't live up to what I think everybody was expecting. The gameplay was kind of limited, and what you could do as a research conservationist, I think the problem with The Sims 4 that everybody has is that the trailers boost up what you're going to get, and then when you get it, it's a lot quieter than what the trailers make it out to be. So it's not nearly as exciting. It's not nearly as fast-paced. The trailers, I think that's what it is. The trailers are very fast-paced, and then the actual gameplay is not, which is fine if you're used to playing with that and you know how to make that work for you. If you can do, obviously not saying, I'll get to that. It's more like if you can play with just internal storytelling, The Sims 4 is fine. Outside of that, there's not much. It really lies in the lack of traits and the lack of aspirations. And that is the number one thing that I complain about. I don't really care about stuff in The Sims 4, and I own everything, which is embarrassing, and I hate to admit it. I think there was a sale, and I very quickly grabbed everything I was missing one time. So, because their sales are actually pretty good for The Sims 4, not gonna lie. But I personally am not that big on stuff. I don't go CC shopping. I don't care about swatches. I don't care about not saying that others shouldn't care. It's just not my cup of tea to have like 18 different versions of refrigerators. I just make do with what I have. Sometimes I am really excited. I'm like, ooh, that shirt's like really cute. And I will make multiple outfits. But I refuse to go any further than that. I super duper duper don't care. All I really care about, me personally, is gameplay. And that's because gameplay, for me, is what helps me create stories in The Sims. So I'm talking things like the research conservationist, the freelancer career, all of the different careers, all of the different areas and the usable objects that are unique. So ice cream makers, popcorn makers, I find reasons to use all of them because they're gameplay for me. And that, for me, expands on the story because, you know, if I have a part of the story where Sims are coming over, and I swear to God, I'm getting back to eco lifestyle. Just hang on with me, okay? But, you know, obviously, that's what's pretty big to me. And in The Sims 3, which is personally my favorite Sims game, which I have been reintroduced to after so long, and God, I missed it. It had an insane amount of lifetime wishes and traits. There were just so many to go with. And even though they were really not that, like, they didn't really affect things that much. Like, you could go an entire Sims game without really ever completing your lifetime wish or your ambition. I forget what they called it. It was still something that helped build your character. It helped you in your mind to have this character. In The Sims 3, we had room for 5 traits on an adult sim. In The Sims 3, we have 3 traits on an adult sim, and we have just like, it still feels like a handful of ambitions or lifetime wishes. No, Sims 4 is ambitions because you have more than one. I remember now. And that, I mean, like, it's so limiting and it's so easy to do all of them on a single sim. Long lifespan, literally they're not hard. Not even the ones that I usually stay away from, like the social ones. I'm not really a social, I hate socializing in games. God, I hate socializing in real life. But there's just not a lot of gameplay in The Sims 4, and every time they do the trailers, they play up the gameplay. They make it this fast-paced, exciting thing, and then you actually get into The Sims 4, and all of the gameplay is very slow. It's going to university and actually graduating is super slow, which, to be fair, it's university, and I will say I think the university pack is one of the best ones. I'll get back to that. But a lot of it is just not what the trailers make it look like. And I get that trailers are meant to sort of play stuff up, but in most games you have a bit of a gap. Like, the game is played up and you're like, oh, okay, you know, obviously it's not as great as the trailer. The Sims is like really played up, and I think we can all agree on that. Even those of us who really like the packs, because I really like Sims 4. Sims 4. I have fun in it. I can tell my stories. I have novels of stories that I tell when I play The Sims, which is probably why I'm addicted to it, and probably also why I haven't published a book. I have a problem. But back to eco lifestyle. It looks fun. It promises a lot, and I think it promises a lot that we were expecting to get with Island Living, and we didn't. And it's very much kind of the same, where you're going into an area that's like very like smoggy, that kind of thing. And then you're trying to fix it. So you're trying to make a better area. You're pretty much a conservationist all over again. I think that's why people are really upset. The other thing that upsets people is that it feels really random. And I get that. It did feel really random. When it was announced and it was like, okay, we're getting it. I mean, like, literally, I'm making this video on like May 23rd, I think. We're getting it on June 1st. It was like, where did this come from? And I personally, I don't work at EA. I don't know anyone at EA. Here is my theory, okay? I think eco lifestyle has been in production as at least since around 2017, possibly earlier. I looked it up online because I was like, this sounds really familiar though. Like, a lot of people are saying it came out of nowhere. It sounds really familiar, this eco lifestyle thing. And I looked it up, and I actually found a references and screenshots and breadcrumbs, because obviously the survey doesn't exist anymore. But a survey from 2017 from EA that was asking what people were interested in, and eco living won. So that's important, and it was called Eco Living, and it was presented as a stuff pack in the survey. And that's important because that was like that was basically the first time it was ever mentioned, and I found this on Google. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I found. So I think this has been in production for a really, really long time, and I am absolutely positive, and I'll explain this as well, I'm positive that the Sims team is actually broken up into different pods, and all of them work on different projects. So it's not that the entire Sims team is working on eco lifestyle and just ignoring what the community wants. We have a sector of the Sims team, just like a group of people who have been working on eco lifestyle. And I think what happened is it was started back in 2017 as a stuff pack, and then Island Living got suggested and Eco Living got scrapped and restarted as a game pack. And then, you know, other stuff, and eventually Island Living released, and possibly there was another scrapping of Eco Lifestyle. So I personally think Eco Lifestyle has gone through several remodels and several remakes and several scrappings. Because, again, when it was suggested, it was actually a stuff pack. And then we got Tiny Living, which would have technically been Eco Living, because you got tiny houses, which are pretty economically friendly. And then, so that's what I personally think, is that Eco Living was just originally small and then kept getting bigger and bigger as they were trying to differentiate it from other teams who were working on other stuff. So what we have here is a lack of context for Eco Lifestyle by the time it is released, because I think, okay, here's what I also think, that there is a really big misunderstanding between the EA team, the Sims team, and the consumers. Nobody is actually told what's being, and there's an understandable reason behind this, but nobody's actually being told when something is going into production. We're not given oh, hey, we've just begun production on Eco Lifestyle. Why? Because I bet you not every idea that gets put into production actually makes it into the market. And I'm almost positive of that, especially because we can know that there are pods working on different projects. And the reason I know this is because of an interview, I think, between Kelsey and PGK. PGK? I think that's her real name. Impeachment? No, Impeachment is the Sims name. I'm so sorry. But between Kelsey and one of the developers on the Island Living team, she mentioned that she got put in charge of Island Living. And they brought in the team for Island Living. So when I heard that, something along the lines, I'm paraphrasing, I haven't watched that interview in a really long time. We can infer from that there are teams in The Sims, and that they are all working on something different, which makes sense from a development point of view on a game as long-lived as The Sims. Just have people working on different stuff at all times. We can also obviously infer this right now because we have Nifty Knitting in progress, and also we are getting this eco lifestyle thing, which we can assume has been in progress since 2017. So, what does this mean? The context for eco living is gone. There is no context for it. And they didn't really work to keep context for it. Like, there were no sneaky surveys, like, keeping it on people's minds. There was no, obviously no gameplay teasers. It's possible that they just really were not sure if this was ever going to make it to market. It's possible that they were like, hey, we already have something similar. Do we really think we could pull this off? And then the team was like, yes, you know what? I believe in this. Like, we want to keep doing it. Or, the head higher ups were like, no, we want our money. You're going to finish this. We've already been working on this. We don't really know. What I think the miscommunication between consumers and EA is that this has not been in production for a month. It has definitely been in production for at least a year. So people are really upset because you just hear about it now. There's no heads up about it. It is coming almost out of nowhere. And while it's impossible for EA to be like, hey, we've just started working on something, some kind of work to keep eco lifestyle in people's minds so that it doesn't feel so left field would probably have made a really big impact on people not being this pissed off, because right now we're in a kind of surge of people asking for farming. So when everyone has just been like repeatedly tweeting at Sims and going, where is farming? I think farming is the loudest one right now after university. We finally got university. Now I think farming is the loudest. And excuse me. Everybody has just been nonstop about farming, and there's one other one, cars. I'm not really big on cars. There's no point to them. Everything, you have to travel places via jumping between maps. There's no point to cars. There will never be a point to cars in Sims 4. I'm sorry. They will literally just take up space in the game. Make it a pack so I don't have to buy it, because I won't, unless there's other stuff in it and there's reasons to have cars other than making them look pretty and have them be another way to travel to places, because there really is no reason for cars. My personal opinion, I just can't see the point to cars. We have toys, enlarge them. Anyways, so that said, now that I've pissed off a mass corner of the Sims 4 community, there was a point to Sims 3. There's no point to Sims 4. Okay, I'm done. Sorry, I have a lot of gripes about cars. I wish people would ask for something more interesting like farming. At least farming is gameplay. Again, I really value gameplay, so obviously I have a bias, but farming would be really interesting and really fun, and we could finally get horses. I miss horses, okay? I was playing The Sims 3 and I miss horses. Anyways, tangent. Everybody's been just kind of like repeatedly talking about farms, and I just don't think, even if we are going to get it, it's not going to be now. It probably takes a minimum of a year to work on something, and they have just finished a bunch of other projects. If anything, they're still in the drawing up phase, deciding what gameplay mechanics, maybe making swatches, maybe making, ideas for what items to include in the pack. Is it going to be a game pack? Is it going to be the one that's not a game pack? Is it going to be a stuff pack? I really hope not. I will be pissed. Will there be a stuff pack that goes with it like there was for the child stuff? That stuff pack was really upsetting. That sort of thing. And for that, it's, eco lifestyle was never talked about. It's not really a thing that's been talked about in the Sims community. It just feels random, but it's not random to the Sims team. And that's a disconnect between the company, EA, and the company and the people behind the Sims and us. Now, I do want to address this. Most people would assume, well, maybe instead of having teams, you should just have everyone working on one thing. No. Have you ever heard of the saying, too many cooks? Let me tell you something about programming, because I'm a software engineer. More than one programmer, more than maybe 3, is really tough. There are certain things that you just do not have more than a certain amount of people doing. Programming, for sure, is one of them. Art, maybe you could have a really big team, because then everybody could be working on something different and it's all just going to the same project. Programming is a nightmare the more people that you have. Version control, even with GitHub, is just, it's a nightmare. I have worked with other programmers, and it's like, okay, unless everybody is just working on their own separate script and they're not all working together on the actual game files, which is highly unlikely, no, it's a mess. So again, too many cooks. You do not want a massive company working on just one project at a time. You'd think it would go faster. Believe it or not, too many people on something might make it go slower. So again, you have these centralized teams working on different projects, different packs, different things. And we obviously can tell if eco lifestyle was first presented in 2017. I don't know that was when it started to be worked on. I can't prove that. I can't prove how long the development was for eco lifestyle. I just don't know. If anybody knows, tell me, because I didn't find anything. Obviously, I'm not going to find anything. There's no way EA is going to give us those kind of stats. They're far too mechanical to ever care about what we actually think about The Sims, because The Sims is just basically a cash cow to them. understandable, because literally everyone is just going to buy this no matter how much they hate it. But, we'll get to that too. It's just, we don't know how long the development process has been for Eco Lifestyle. We don't know how many people are working on it. We just can't say like what the context was for Eco Lifestyle. I just know that it was presented back in 2017. There was a thought that I was going to put and I tangentized myself and I forgot it. So I probably didn't finish the thought there, and I won't know until I go into editing. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Eco Lifestyle. Obviously, I didn't really talk about a whole lot of the gameplay mechanics. I really like the idea that's presented where you can absolutely affect a world. So if you're living in an area, you can affect a place negatively or positively. Oh my god, I forgot the opposite of negative. You can affect a place negatively or positively. Plumbella was talking about the fact that you could make a place all about drinking nectar or juice. I think it's called juice now, not nectar. And so obviously with that, that's really cool, because with island living, you could only affect a place for the good, which, to be fair, is a good thing. We don't really want to promote pollution, but in Eco Lifestyle, you have the ability to affect a place negatively, and I actually think that that's going to make a very big distinguishing change between island living and Eco Lifestyle, because otherwise they'd be really, really similar, and maybe Eco Lifestyle would be slightly better. So ultimately, what are my thoughts? I don't know. I won't really know until I play it, but I do think it looks really cool. I just think that everyone is really, really upset because by the time, okay, here was my thought. By the time they eventually announce farming for The Sims 4, because I'm so positive that they will, it will probably be in a year or two, and that's only after scrapping it several times probably, or just straight up trying to figure out what they're going to have in it. Maybe there's going to be a bunch of surveys by the time they start announcing it. Who knows? Who really knows? If just because they haven't announced it does not mean that they're not working on it. We just literally do not know what the development process for Sims stuff is, and we won't. And University has been worked on for like years, like maybe I would think like a year or 2 years, because obviously there was a demand for it. They're just not allowed to talk about it, because if they decide to change something and the community was really attached to that thing that they decide to change, there would be such an explosion of anger. So, I mean, I guess ultimately they can't escape that. People are going to be pissed no matter what they do, but this is like the better scenario for EA. I feel like the Sims team is just a bunch of really bitter people who are like, yeah, working for the Sims. I wonder if they have like did they hate your pack too? What were they saying? Nice. They calling it repetitive. Oh, they said that about our pack too. High five. You know what I mean? Also, I hope this filter isn't too horrible on my camera. I'm trying to make this brighter without like blasting my face with lights, because I don't have a lot of space, and it's a very dark room. There are no actual lights in this room, just the lamp that you see in the background, which is why I suffer. But yeah, so I know this is a really long video. I mentioned that I would talk about why I haven't been uploading, and I'm going to do that now. I have been unbelievably busy. I am officially back to work. I am like at an actual physical workplace, and that's just how that is. It's fine. We're all being safe, 6 feet apart, masks and all that stuff. But now that I am back to work, I can't really. It's a whole new schedule too, because there's just a heavier workload that comes with what's going on right now. I was working from home, which eliminates a lot of the driving around part of being an employee, and that gave me a lot more free time in general. But now I have just a lot more stuff on my plate, and I'm also picking up some other things that I want to do around the apartment that we're living in, and just being a bit more of a responsible human being. And that is a whole new schedule that I'm not really used to. I'm also trying to lose weight again, because I gained a lot of it back, and I'm not happy about that. And so that's a whole new schedule right there, because I'm cooking every single night which for me is weird. For some people is probably quite normal, but for me that's weird. I don't usually cook every night. I don't like cooking every single night. It exhausts me. I'm not really good at that kind of stuff. But I want to lose weight, and the best way to do it is to eat naturally and to eat healthily and to cook things ultimately. So So I've just got a different schedule that I'm working around. Also, I've been thinking a lot, and I've been on the side. Obviously, you guys don't know this. I have been trying to do better videos. I have been recording just things that I would be able to edit down, jump cuts, better videos in general. The problem is that I have had issues with every single attempt. I don't know why. I can't get a break. I have trashed so many videos because audio didn't record for the games. Audio didn't record for my mic. You'd think that I could fix this by testing, but I changed nothing. Okay, I changed nothing in OBS. I don't even turn off my computer half the time. The only thing that ever gets changed is that sometimes my microphone is unplugged from here, and usually that does nothing to my computer. It's just that for some reason, whenever I go in to try to record something that's I'm looking at OBS right now, and it is showing me that my microphone is being captured. If something happens to this video, I shall be very cross, but I don't know what my luck is right now with actually trying to make decent content for my YouTube channel. It's just not having it. I also wanted to try to get back into doing audiobooks. I don't really know. I am still trying to write a book. Don't know when that's going to happen. I have several books on my brain. Okay, look, let's take 5 seconds to talk about this because this is something that I've been struggling with. I have removed all of the social media from my phone. I should probably do a video on that by itself. That's all I'm going to say. I have removed all of the social media from my phone to try to be more productive. I will talk about that in a separate scenario because that is another 20 minutes right there. I feel that I have become very, very hard on myself because of the expectations put on you by just being around so many people on the internet and seeing so many different types of skills of people who have worked a very, very long time. But that's a concept that's very, very difficult to actually grasp and hang on to as a person because you can see their work, but you cannot see the work that went into getting that good. So all you can see is your own progress and then someone else's finished work. And you just sit there and crap on yourself. And I realized that having that is causing me problems, and I have created massive issues and habits for myself that are really just very damaging. And I've trashed so many work in progresses and so many ideas and so many story concepts because they just weren't good enough for some unseen, unrealistic level. And I'm trying to reprogram that, and it's very, very difficult to go back once you have developed this thought process. I will talk about that in another video. That is a whole other issue. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will try to get more content out, but I'm trying to be more creative with the things that I'm doing, and I'm trying to be more discerning, and it's just a slower process in general. I know I had the Sims 3 Firefighter series going. I recorded 3 episodes of that, and I just don't know how I feel about those videos. Stuff happened in them. I will probably upload them. I don't know. Something about them really upset me. I don't know if it was just the mood that I was in when I recorded them, and then I forced myself to record anyway, and then I sat and listened to them and was unhappy, but like I can't go back on them. Like I can't re-record those because I saved over that save file. Should have created a new save, but alas, that's just how the dice rolls. So I don't know. I gotta figure out what I want to do with those. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. And thank you for sticking with me through all of this. I really, really do appreciate it. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.